Jeff Glor, CBS News in New York.
CBS 12 News at 5:30 starts now with breaking news.
But first at 5, the intense search for a gunman who opened fire on not one, but 2 West Palm Beach police officers is over.
The shooting happening along 50th Street and Broadway. There's the map, and that's where we find CBS 12's Kristen Chapman with the latest on this developing story. Kristen, what do you know right now?
Paul, we actually just learned that West Palm Beach police put the man in custody who shot at not 1, but 2 of those police officers. Now, this is the scene we're working with right now. I'm told the man was actually found hiding in somebody's yard. All of these streets were blocked off just moments ago. Now, only 49th Street and Flagler is blocked off. All the rest are slowly being reopened. Now, they haven't released the shooter's name, but fortunately, no one was injured in the shooting. The man they caught was in his 30s or 40s. He was wearing a black hat, blue shirt, and jeans. And for owners of nearby businesses in this area, like Tom Wenzel and with Johnson Flooring, he says he's lived here his whole life and still isn't concerned about the area because it has not impacted his business. Take a listen.
There's a bad element no matter wherever you go, so it's probably maybe here the element's a little bit worse, but in general, I come here every day. I feel no danger whatsoever.
Yeah, and it's all very calm right now. Earlier today, both Northmore and Northborough elementary schools were put on lockdown. The school district says class was dismissed and a police officer escorted children to the buses and their parents. But again, the man was caught. You can see some of the people out here checking out what's going on because everyone is finally allowed to leave their home. And again, we'll give you that name once it's released. But the man who shot at those 2 police officers is in custody. Reporting live in West Palm Beach, Kristen Chapman, CBS 12 News.
In custody. That is the good news, Kristen. Thank you. And of course, we will continue to send breaking news alerts on the search right now to your home, also where this suspect is going next since he has been taken into jail. Of course, make sure you download our CBS 12 News app.
A warning now for parents. Deputies say a Delray Beach man tried to lure a child for sex, and that child may not be the only one. Detectives say the 35-year-old solicited sex online from an undercover investigator who was posing as a child.
That's right. CBS 12's Jeremy Farinas joins us live from West Palm Beach where the arrest went down. Yadi?
Paul, detectives say the man came here to this McDonald's to meet who he thought was a 15-year-old girl. They say his intentions were to make the girl, quote, his sugar baby and have sexual intercourse with her.
No use of social media.
This is the man investigators fear may have targeted real children, not just online bait. Investigators with South Florida Internet Crimes arrested 35-year-old Agustin Gonzalez, also known as Froggy, after a month-long investigation. His arrest report states he messaged and texted an undercover agent several times, offering money and sex to who he thought was a 15-year-old girl. The report says Froggy was looking for a, quote, sugar baby to go out with and spend money on. Detectives say Froggy later sent explicit messages describing what he wanted to do to the young girl. Just yesterday, PBSO says Froggy agreed to meet the girl at a West Palm Beach McDonald's where they captured him. Tonight, PBSO says there may be additional victims.
There are thousands and thousands and thousands of predators working online to lure children every single day.
Co-founder of Kids Safe Foundation in Boca Raton, Sherry Ben Joseph, says this is a perfect time to talk to your children about online predators.
There is no MO, there's no profile. We need children to understand that they really shouldn't be communicating with people online that they don't know in the real world.
Ben Joseph says there are many ways to protect your child from online predators.
Children need to hear from their grown-ups, from the people in their circle of safe adults, that no matter where they are in a situation, that we are here to listen and help.
Too many homeless people in this neighborhood.
And coming up, how parents can detect if their child is talking to a stranger online. That's all new tonight at 6. For now, we're live in West Palm Beach. I'm Jeremy Farinas, CBS 12 News.
Jeremy, we'll see you then. Right now, 4 people are under arrest after deputies say they went into an elderly woman's home, then stole her jewelry. Palm Beach County Sheriff's deputies arrested these 4 in connection with that home invasion. Deputies say they broke into a 90-year-old woman's home in Boca, put a shirt over her head, held her down, and stole her jewelry. Remember, she's 90 years old. They say they also stole her credit cards and violently threw her around. Deputies used credit card purchases and social security information to track down those subjects.
Breaking news, an alarming video release shows a troubling takedown of an officer kicking a man already in handcuffs. And now 4 police officers are on paid administrative leave. CBS 12's Al Peffley joins us live outside the Coral Springs Police Department tonight with more. Al?
Police just wrapped up a news conference a few minutes ago about this incident, which is certainly attracting a lot of attention. Cell phone video appears to show a Coral Springs police officer kicking a man who was in handcuffs sitting on the ground. The man who was kicked is identified as 28-year-old Gabriel Narcisse Beckford. According to police, Coral Springs police officers went to a convenience store on Sample Road the night of December 4th because of a reported shoplifting. Officers reportedly tasered Narcisse Beckford. During a brief struggle, Narcisse Beckford tried to get the gun from one of these officers. They were able to handcuff him and sit him down on the curb, and that's when the video appears to show an officer kicking Narcisse Beckford. The police chief finds this video is concerning.
As our police department is a professional agency, it's our duty to conduct a thorough investigation, and he wanted more time to do it. So he is concerned about what he saw, but he wants to have the time in order to communicate with our investigations unit, which they did this morning, and then cooperate with the state attorney's office in order to thoroughly do an investigation.
Narcisse Beckford was arrested for petty theft, battery on a law enforcement officer, resisting or obstructing an officer with violence, and depriving an officer his means of protection. 4 police officers now on paid leave while the police department does an internal investigation. They've also asked the state attorney's office now to look at this, and so there is now a criminal investigation underway as well. Live in Coral Springs, Al Peffley, CBS 12 News.
Thank you, Al. Now at 5, from record highs to a chilly change, Mother Nature is sure taking us on a roller coaster ride.
I'd say that's a good phrase. Maxine, let's get right over to Chief Meteorologist Aaron Christensen tracking your hour-by-hour forecast. The roller coaster, as we've been saying, continues, Aaron.
Absolutely. This up, down pattern isn't finished just yet. In fact, we were at just 70 degrees yesterday. By Sunday, we will warm back to the 80s once again, 83 degrees. But in the meantime, we're still dealing with some slightly cooler than normal conditions. Temperature 70 right now, and wind from the east at 12 miles per hour. Our humidity just about 53%. But we're timing out those temperatures through early tomorrow morning. Here's an hour-by-hour look at what to expect. Dipping down right about 6 o'clock in the morning to 60 degrees for West Palm Beach, 60 for Jupiter and Stewart, 57 Fort Pierce, and the same for Vero Beach. And then spiking back into the mid to upper 70s by Friday afternoon. So it's definitely going to be a warmer morning tomorrow from what we felt today. 55 Belle Glade, 58 for Wellington, 64 Lake Worth, 61 Palm Beach Gardens, upper 50s for Jupiter Farms. We're talking 48 though for Okeechobee, 54 Fort Pierce. Now coming up, we are tracking that next weather maker. It's also going to be a weekend weather maker. We'll talk about the timing of our rain coming up.
Lots to go through. All right, Aaron, thank you. New this hour, it was a wild comeback on Wall Street today. The Dow recovering from a 785-point plunge. Trade tensions with China has launched the stock market into a wild roller coaster ride, and news of the arrest of a Chinese chief financial officer in Canada sent the Dow plummeting as much as those 785 points before the index staged a comeback, closing just 78 points down. The resentencing date for Tyler Hadley now been set for Thursday, December 20th in downtown Fort Pierce. Of course, Hadley is convicted of killing his parents with a claw hammer in their Port St. Lucie home, then throwing a party with their bodies still inside the house. He was 17 at the time. Hadley was sentenced to life in prison, but is now getting a chance for a lesser sentence due to a change in Florida law. Tomorrow, we are expected to hear from the trooper who risked his life to save a stranger and nearly died. Let's take a look now at this heroic action on I-95 near Hope Sound. Look at that. This is exclusive video you'll see only on CBS 12 News from our CBS 12 traffic tracker. Now, Trooper Mithil Patel is out of the hospital today. He says he's doing better but very sore, and he hopes to be back to work in the next few weeks.
Well, a food truck fight in Fort Pierce, why the traveling restaurants are suing the city.
And
warmer
Aaron.
temperatures as we head through the next couple of days will make it nice for boating, but there's one component you'll need to watch out for if you'll be spending the weekend on the water.
All right, I'm going to take it from you, Aaron. A mother is calling for action after her son was pinned down in his class. Why the maneuver is perfectly legal in the state of Florida.
And a major medicine recall meant for babies. Why infant ibuprofen may be dangerous. Warning for parents involving medicine you might have at home for your baby. Infant ibuprofen sold under 3 store brands at Walmart, Family Dollar, and CVS is being recalled. The medicine could have potentially higher concentrations of ibuprofen than listed, and that, of course, could be especially dangerous for infants. So far, no issues have been reported. The ibuprofen was packaged in half-ounce bottles.
Right now, a Palm City mother calling on lawmakers to ban the use of restraint in schools. This after she claims a teacher's aide pinned down her son and left him with a lot of bruises. Now, the incident reportedly happened at Hidden Oaks Middle School in Palm City, and tonight that's where we find CBS 12 investigates Andrea Marvin. And Andrea, you spoke with a mother who says the incident actually began with her son trying to get a pencil out of his backpack.
Yeah, that's correct, Paul. And the mother says that her 13-year-old has behavioral and emotional disorders and that this teacher aide knew this and should have handled this situation differently. But now her child is afraid to go back to school.
He has anxiety, has depression. He's afraid to go back there.
Ashley Hoffman is helping her 13-year-old son regain confidence to go back to school after she says the unthinkable happened.
Heartbreak and anger. Of course. I mean, no child should ever have to go through anything like that.
Hoffman says her son came home with bruises on his body after being restrained during class at Hidden Oak Middle School.
Tackled him down to the ground and made him sit like that for 15 minutes. Every time Anthony pulled, they pulled harder.
The report filed with the Martin County Sheriff's Office says Anthony tried to get a pencil taken out of his backpack that was taken from him, but the teacher's aide told him to go to the front of the class to get one instead. The report says Anthony then knocked the pencils off the teacher's desk, got into a verbal altercation with the behavioral specialist, and it escalated to where her son was restrained.
Very heartbreaking to know that I wasn't able to help him in that situation at that time, but I can now.
In response, the Martin County School District says the behavioral specialist resigned and that all reporting procedures were followed. Under the State Department of Education policy, restraint is used in the event a student poses imminent danger to themselves or others. But Hoffman wants that to change.
And I need the lawmakers. We need them to step up and please help, because there shouldn't be death. There shouldn't be children being scared to go to school, but restraint and seclusion needs to get out of school.
Now, Hoffman does plan to transfer her child to a different school. Now, so far, there have been about 20 kids who have been killed from the practice-prone restraint. Coming up at 6, we take a look at what school districts are doing about it. Reporting live in Palm City, Andrea Marvin, CBS 12 News.
Tonight, a search and rescue mission is underway off the coast of Japan for at least 5 Marines still missing after a deadly training exercise. A Marine spokesman says a KC-130 tanker and an F-18 jet collided after taking off from a base near Hiroshima. 1 Marine was killed, 1 other was recovered. Planes and ships are involved in the search and rescue operation. The crash happened during a refueling exercise, but it's still unclear how the planes collided.
All right, Erin is joining us now here at the anchor desk. And Maxine, I don't know about you, but you know, it wasn't too bad last night, the temperatures.
No, I mean, I'm from up north, so I love it.
So do I. We both are, but you come from Tucson, so I don't know.
But originally from Chicago.
Oh,
so,
forget it.
You know, there's part of me that loves the heat. There's part of me that's okay with the cool air.
But for all our viewers,
well, there's a little something for everyone with this up-down pattern, right?
Always a glass half full with you.
I love that. 70 degrees right now, and our wind is from the east at 12 miles per hour, and that easterly component to our wind is going to start ushering in some warmer air and some more moisture. So we're going to talk about chances for rain as we head into the weekend. But in the meantime, enjoying temps in the low 70s here from Miami up through West Palm Beach, Vero Beach at 70, upper 60s in Orlando, 61 Gainesville, and upper 50s at this hour for Jacksonville. A little closer to home, our temperatures here from Fort Pierce, cool, slightly cooler than normal. 69 in Fort Pierce, 67 Port St. Lucie, 64 Okeechobee, and 65 at this hour Belle Glade. But as we make our way through the course of the evening, 60 degrees. Our overnight low at Palm Beach International. Surely going to beat the 48 that we registered early this morning, but that 60 is still 2 degrees below the norm. And then as we head through the day tomorrow, temperatures kind of rebounding here. 77. We're not in the 80s just yet, but you're going to see a couple of days with 80s in your 7-day forecast. That's a hint of things to come. Our 77 degrees will be spot on with our 30-year average for the date. Mostly sunny skies and the wind picking up from the east about 10 to 15 miles per hour. Elsewhere, what we're expecting, upper 70s also for Wellington, 77, 76 Lake Worth, Boynton Beach at 76, 76 Delray Beach, 77 Boca Raton. Jupiter at 76. You're kind of catching on to this pattern here, right? About 76, 77 for most of us. Jupiter Farms also 77. A little cooler to the north. Vero Beach 73, 73 Fort Pierce, 74 Port St. Lucie, and Okeechobee 73 for your Friday. Now, I will tell you, if you are headed out boating tomorrow, pretty decent conditions. The wind from the east up to 20 knots. There is a moderate rip current risk. Offshore waves up to 5 feet. Closer to the shore, 2 to 4 foot waves. But as we head into the weekend, we are tracking our next weather maker. It's a cold front that, as it makes its way across the Gulf over the next 24 to 48 hours, will push out some rain ahead of it. It's also going to bring on some stronger winds. So Saturday and Sunday, wind is going to be an issue for you if you're taking the boat out. But this front is going to start bringing some rain to Jacksonville as early as Sunday morning, right around 10 o'clock, and then start to swing its way through the rest of the state. Sunday, 10 p.m., we see some widespread showers, albeit light rain, starting to move into Palm Beach County, and then eventually that front will move off the peninsula by early Monday morning. So here's how it plays out in our weekend. A very warm one, by the way. We'll be back to 80 degrees Saturday, 10% chance for rain. So Saturday, the drier the 2 days. Then Sunday, 50% chance for rain with 83 degrees. And that wind is going to pick up, especially Sunday, about 15 to 20 miles per hour. Here's a look at the 7-day forecast where that weekend's always in view. After that round of rain on Sunday, we start cooling down and drying out once again. 67 by Tuesday.
Time to put the sweater away, Paul.
It's not too bad.
Well, Florida parents welcome some very special twins in the world just in time for the holidays.
The only thing I want for Christmas is my 2 babies to be home.
Oh, the miracle these new parents are hoping for this Christmas. That's next.
Proud partner of the CBS 12 News Network, the one to turn to.
A food truck fight in Fort Pierce. A group of food truck owners announced that they are filing a lawsuit against the city, claiming it has one of the most restrictive, anti-competitive vending restrictions in the country. In 2014, Fort Pierce enacted a ban on food trucks operating within 500 feet of any restaurant. Food truck owners say that makes it almost impossible for them to do business in Fort Pierce.
Right now, we're on top of that breaking news. A gunman wanted for opening fire on 2 West Palm Beach police officers right now in custody. How investigators were able to finally track him down.
And if you're headed to see Sandy this weekend, I'll tell you what to expect at sunset.
And a final goodbye. Tens of thousands of people waiting in the rain for hours to salute our nation's 41st president. We'll take you to College Station, Texas for the historic journey.
Following breaking news right now at 6. Here's the scene. Officers shot at, and now a man is in cuffs. The intense search that forced people to stay in their homes.
A controversial method, restraining children in schools. CBS 12 News investigates why this is considered risky, but is not banned in Florida.
George Herbert Walker Bush is the most gracious, most decent, most humble man that I will ever know.
A final farewell to the 41st President of the United States. The heartwarming tributes to President George H.W. Bush.
CBS 12 News at 6 starts now with breaking news.
We're following breaking news tonight. Bullets fly, narrowly missing 2 officers, and now a man is in handcuffs. The intense search in West Palm Beach forced 2 elementary schools to go on lockdown while people were told to stay inside their homes.
Yeah, Maxine, the scene all unfolding along 50th Street just hours ago. The map right there, and that's where we find CBS 12's Kristen Chapman. You've been there all afternoon, Kristen. You're live there. Police, I understand, just held a news conference?
Yeah, Paul, Maxine, this has been a long day for West Palm Beach police officers, but they have finally caught the man who they say shot at 2 different police officers today. Now, initially, all of these roads were blocked off, but right now, the only ones that are blocked off are right here off of North Flagler, off of 46th and 47th Street. They still have not released the name of the shooter, but right now we know that he was found in the yard of his neighbor's house. Now, the man that they caught was in his 30s or 40s. He was initially wearing a black hat, blue shirt, and jeans, and many people who live here in the area say it's still a nice place to live because it's in a historic district of West Palm Beach, just steps from the Intracoastal.
The neighborhood is a great neighborhood. I grew up here, a lot of middle class, a lot of people, a great mixture of people here.
Yeah, earlier today was a very different scene than what we're seeing right now. Both Northmore and Northborough elementary schools were put on lockdown. The school district says class was dismissed and a police officer escorted children to the buses as well as to their parents. But again, the man was caught. There is actually a lot of activity on this road now because people are finally allowed back inside their homes. But fortunately, they have nothing to worry about right now. And soon, this street right here should be clearing. Reporting live in West Palm Beach, Kristen Chapman, CBS 12 News.
And the CBS 12 News first brought you this breaking news with a push alert sent right to your phone. So for immediate updates, all you have to do is download our CBS 12 News app.
Sexual predators hunting for children online. Tonight, a 35-year-old man is facing charges for soliciting sex online from an undercover investigator who was posing as a teenage girl. Now, investigators in Palm Beach County fear your child may have been targeted by this man as well. CBS 12's Yademi Farinas joins us live near Okeechobee Boulevard and Military Trail, where the man planned to meet the child. Yari?
Detectives say the man came here to this McDonald's thinking he was going to pick up a 15-year-old girl and pay her to have sex. Instead, he ended up in handcuffs.
Sadly, you and I know that this is common.
Co-founder of Kids Safe Foundation, Sherry Joseph, reacts to the arrest of this Delray Beach man.
There is no one profile for an online predator.
Investigators say 35-year-old Agustin Gonzalez, nicknamed Froggy, was looking for children in an online chatting website called Meet Me. His arrest report states he messaged and texted the undercover agent several times in a month, offering money and sex to who he thought was a 15-year-old girl. The report says Froggy was looking for, quote, a sugar baby. Detectives say Froggy later sent explicit messages describing what he wanted to do to the girl. The investigation led to this website. It appears to be his work website where Froggy claims to be a cinematographer. On the site, there are video clips and photographs. Tonight, investigators are warning parents there may be more victims out there.
Make sure they understand that there are people out in the online world that aren't who they say they are.
Ben Joseph says communication and parental guidance are necessary for children who are using the internet. She says every parent should know the signs their child might be at risk online.
Do you see something different? Do they seem more anxious when a text is dinging? Or are they walking away all the time when they're reading that text?
Now, here are some ways you can protect your child from being targeted. You can limit and monitor their screen time. Also, keep their electronics in a common area in the house. And always talk to your children about online dangers. For now, we're live in West Palm Beach. I'm Yademi Farinas, CBS 12 News.
Well, just in case you haven't noticed, there's a weather roller coaster out there. Another chilly night here in South Florida, but warmer temps aren't far away. Chief Meteorologist Aaron Christensen now tracking our next weather maker here live in the studio. And Aaron, could we actually be seeing warmer temps?
We definitely are. We've got another upswing in our temperatures as we head into the weekend, and tonight won't be as cold as what last night was. We're now at 69 degrees at the airport, wind from the northeast, 6 miles per hour, humidity of just about 54% here. Temperatures elsewhere, sure, cooler than normal for the date, but as we head through the evening again, it's not going to be nearly as cold as that 48 degrees we had in West Palm this morning. Right now we're at that 68 in Jupiter, 68 Stewart, 66 Port St. Lucie, but 62 in Okeechobee, 64 Belle Glade. Overnight dropping down to that 60-degree low. Again, 12 degrees warmer from what we were this morning, but even at that, it is still 2 degrees below average for our overnight low. But you're right, Paul, we are tracking our next weather maker, and it's a cold front. It's going to start bringing us some rain as early as Sunday as it swings through the state. Now, coming up, I'm going to explain why our next weather maker is a cold front, but we're talking a big warm up in temperatures for our weekend. That's in just a bit.
Thanks, Aaron. Tonight, a Palm City mother calling on lawmakers to ban the use of restraints in schools after she claims that her son was actually pinned down and left with bruises. Ashley Hoffman says her 13-year-old son Anthony is afraid to go back to Oaks Middle School in Palm City. Now, a report claims a dispute over a pencil caused a behavioral specialist to get into a verbal fight and then escalated to where the specialist apparently restrained Anthony.
Tackled him down to the ground and made him sit like that for 15 minutes. Every time Anthony pulled, they pulled harder. I mean, no child should ever have to go through anything like that.
The Martin County Sheriff's Office says the behavioral specialist has since resigned, that all protocols were followed. And Florida ranks 4th in the nation for restraining students for acting out in the classroom, the most common method being blamed for dozens of child's death, and that method is being used right here in our area. CBS 12 News investigates Andrea Marvin has been looking into this controversial restraint after a mother called to complain how a school treated her son. And Andrea, what kind of restraint are we actually talking about here?
Paul, this practice is called prone restraint. It is when a child is put face down on the ground and held there by teachers who can actually sit on their hands, feet, and back to keep them from moving. Now, it is outlawed in certain states, but it is completely legal here in Florida.
I think we'll have time to go to the library. Okay.
Darlene Foster can't get over what happened to her son.
You're taken back.
She says 6 years ago, 5 men at Lantana Middle School pinned down her son, Joshua.
You're doing good. He was face down, and he was screaming and yelling, "Get off of me, don't touch me."
Joshua has autism and cerebral palsy.
He doesn't like to be touched. He's shaking and grabbing me, and I want to go home. I want to go home.
His mother says when he refused to go to art class, teachers used the prone restraint and held him face down until he stopped struggling.
You don't ever want to see your kid being restrained on a mat, face down.
A government study showed at least 20 instances of restraint resulting in the death of a child, and hundreds have been injured. Critics say injury can occur when too much pressure on the chest cuts off the air supply. It is so risky, 28 states outlawed it, but prone restraint still remains legal in Florida, with only a few protections for kids with disabilities.
We're trying to do whatever we can to de-escalate situations.
Toby Hansberger is the principal of the L's Center of Excellence in Jupiter, which serves students with autism.
I can definitely see when restraint is used that that can damage that trust and damage those relationships.
Hansberger says they use prone restraint only as a last resort, while schools throughout the Palm Beach County School District use it a total of 121 times on students, resulting in 23 injuries.
We can go to your bench right there, okay?
Several school districts in Florida, including Miami-Dade, ban prone restraint.
Now, there have been some proposals to try to ban prone restraint in Florida, but it did not get very far in the legislature. And proponents of this practice say that teachers could actually get injured if it was completely banned. Reporting live in Palm City, Andrea Marvin, CBS 12 News.
Thank you, Andrea. A developing story now for Coral Springs police officers out on leave after this controversial video surfaced showing a troubling takedown. An officer seen appears to kick a man already in handcuffs. The incident transpired after police were called to a convenience store for shoplifting. CBS 12's Al Peffley is live at the Coral Springs Police Department tonight with what's next. Al?
Police held a news conference here a short time ago about this incident, which is certainly drawing lots of attention. Cell phone video appears to show a Coral Springs police officer kicking a man who was in handcuffs sitting on the ground. That man who was kicked is identified as 28-year-old Gabriel Narcisse Beckford. According to police officers were sent to a convenience store on Sample Road the night of December 4th because of a reported shoplifting involving a soda and some candy bars. Officers reportedly tasered Narcisse Beckford, and during a brief struggle, he tried to get the gun from one of the officers. They were able to handcuff him and sit him down on the curb, and that's when the video appears to show that an officer kicked Narcisse Beckford. That police officer, a detective, says in the arrest report that he struck the suspect with his knee. The police chief finds the video concerning.
I think everybody saw the video. I think it is somewhat disturbing what you see, but in order to articulate the circumstances, he wants to look a little bit more into it.
Narcisse Beckford is facing several charges tonight, including petty theft, battery on a law enforcement officer, resisting or obstructing an officer with violence, and depriving an officer of means of protection. 4 officers are on paid leave while the police department's internal affairs unit looks into this matter. Also now the state attorney's office is conducting a criminal investigation into what happened. Live in Coral Springs, Al Peffley, CBS 12 News.
And if you'd like to see the video again and share it on social media, just head to our website, cbs12.com, or our CBS 12 Facebook page.
He was our shield in danger's hour.
The most decent and honorable person I ever met was my friend George Bush.
A send-off fit for a war hero. The body of President George H.W. Bush is back in College Station tonight, where loved ones held a service this morning after gathering to say their final farewell to the 41st President of the United States. Tens of thousands lined the tracks of the train route where he was going to College Stations, waiting in the rain for hours to salute our former Commander-in-Chief. Black curtains folded back to reveal Mr. Bush's casket as he took one last ride on his 4141 train. That train, unveiled back in 2005, painted in the colors, as you can see, of Air Force One. President Bush specifically requested the funeral train procession leave from Houston to his adopted hometown. His last ride follows a very emotional service, of course, at St. Martin's Episcopal Church. Tears, love, touching tributes pouring into the church from family to friends to leaders past and present.
He understood that humility toward and not humiliation of a fallen adversary was the very best path to peace and reconciliation.
Yes, George Herbert Walker Bush is the most gracious, most decent, most humble man that I will ever know. And it's the honor of a lifetime to share his name.
Mr. Bush died, of course, on Friday at the age of 94. Of course, he's remembered as a naval pilot, congressman, one-time director of the CIA, special envoy, vice president for 2 terms, of course, our commander-in-chief as well. President Bush will be buried at his presidential library in College Station, right next to his wife, former First Lady Barbara, and their daughter, Robin.
Targeting a 90-year-old woman. Tonight, 4 people are behind bars accused of breaking into an elderly woman's home in Boca Raton. Palm Beach County deputies arrested these 4 people after they put a shirt over the woman's head, held her down, then stole her jewelry. Deputies say they also took her credit cards and violently threw the 90-year-old woman around. The sheriff's office tracked the suspects after they used the credit cards.
A mid-air collision and an intense search the Hope crews are hanging on to as they search for 5 U.S. Marines happening off the coast of Japan.
And she made the wrong move twice. Why a father made his daughter walk 5 miles in near freezing temperatures.
And I'm tracking our next weather maker, why it will have you changing your weekend plans.
CBS 12 News at 6.
An intense search for signs of life tonight. Crews are looking for 2 U.S. Marine planes that collided midair off the coast of Japan. The FA and KC-130 crashed during a refueling exercise just 200 miles from an American base. Tonight, the U.S. Marine Corps confirmed 2 of 7 people on board were found, but 1 of them has died.
My heart goes out to the families and the colleagues of the Marines that are involved in this tragedy.
And Japan dispatched 10 aircrafts and 3 ships to help search for those 5 crew members. President Donald Trump also tweeting about the tragedy, saying his thoughts and prayers are with the Marines involved and thanked rescue crews for their efforts.
He thought he was meeting a woman, but instead he stared down the barrel of a gun. That's right. New video. Let's take a look. Shows 3 men posing as law enforcement officers holding the man at gunpoint. Look at that. The victim telling Osceola County deputies he thought he was meeting a woman he met on a dating app when the men arrested him, took him to his hotel room, then demanded money. Tonight, the sheriff's office is still searching for those fake cops.
New at 6, $2,000 in lottery tickets gone. Tonight, Miami police are searching for this man seen stealing the lottery tickets and cigarettes from a gas station. Police are now sharing the video on social media in hopes that someone can identify the crook.
Tonight, a father sending a message about bullying to his own daughter. This video, take a look, out of Ohio, going viral after the father made his 10-year-old daughter walk 5 miles to school in near freezing temperatures. All of this coming after the bus driver kicked her off the school bus for bullying another student. The father followed behind, as you can see, his daughter the whole time as she was walking, but says bullying is unacceptable.
Conjoined twin sisters who Florida doctors separated over the summer will spend their first Christmas at home. The twins were born in May but shared a liver and connected intestine. In July, surgeons at the University of Florida Health successfully separated the girls. One of the girls was released from the hospital in October, but the other was just released on Monday. Their father calls it the best Christmas present ever.
I'd say,
Yes.
the best Christmas present ever?
A Christmas miracle.
That's a Christmas miracle times 2.
Yeah.
How about some weather times 2?
Well, we've got that for you.
The weather times 3, 4, 5.
Right, exactly. That's just about how many hills we have on that roller coaster so far. 69 degrees right now. Wind is from the northeast at 6 miles per hour. But as we head through the evening, not nearly as cold tonight as what it was last night. We'll drop off to a low of 60. That's still 12 degrees warmer from what we recorded early this morning, but it does still put us 2 degrees below the norm. Elsewhere, we're looking at temps in the mid-50s for Belle Glade, 58 for Wellington, 60s rather for Lake Worth, 64, 65 Boynton Beach, 66 for Delray Beach. Palm Beach Gardens at 61, but upper 50s for Jupiter Farms, Loxahatchee, Royal Palm Beach at 59, 48 Okeechobee, 52 for Indiantown, but 54 Vero Beach. Now for our Friday, still those temperatures kind of nudging closer and closer to that 80-degree mark. We'll be at 77, but that is spot on with our 30-year average for the date. Mostly sunny skies. We are looking at temperatures in the mid to upper 70s here for Belle Glade as well as Wellington along the coast. Also 76 Boynton Beach, 76 Delray Beach. To the north, Palm Beach Gardens 77. The same for West Palm Beach as we had mentioned. Royal Palm Beach 77. You're noticing a bit of a trend here. We're kind of in that 76 to 77 range. A little farther to the north, slightly cooler. Vero Beach, Okeechobee, Fort Pierce ringing in at 73 for your Friday. And Stewart 75. Now, if you're headed out to see Sandy at sunset tomorrow, 74 degrees. Sunset is just about 5:30. Mostly clear skies for tomorrow at sunset. Saturday, a little warmer with 78. And notice the wind is picking up too. So if you are going to be boating, keep this in mind as we head through the day tomorrow. The wind from the east up to about 20 knots. There is a moderate rip current risk with 5 feet. Waves expected just offshore, but near shore 2 to 4 foot waves. So the weekend is not going to look as nice for boating because we have a front moving through. The wind is going to strengthen, and ahead of it, we'll get that rain as that east-southeasterly flow returns. A lot more moisture for us on Sunday, 50% chance for rain, but it's also going to warm us up. We're talking temperatures back at 80 degrees Saturday, 83 for our Sunday. Again, Saturday will be the drier of the 2 days. Sunday holds a 50% chance for rain, but it's also going to be the windier of the 2 days with wind speeds up to 20 miles per hour. So do keep that in mind if you're going to be spending it at the water. Here's a look at the 7-day forecast where the weekend is always in view. Temperatures again spiking at that 83 on Sunday. Out ahead of the cold cold front will be that chance for rain. Sunday, 50%. But then Monday will be on the backside. We start cooling down to 73, 67, and drier by Tuesday. Coming up, Paul will have more on the big game facing the Dolphins.
Miami Dolphins keeping their playoff hopes alive by sneaking past the Buffalo Bills last weekend, but it will not be so easy to sneak past Tom Brady and the Patriots this weekend at Hard Rock Stadium. The 6-6 Finns have been more competitive over the past 2 weeks with QB Ryan Tannehill back from injury. Now, the game-winning touchdown to Kenny Stills, you saw right there, one of 3 TD passes on the game for Tannehill against the Bills. But Patriots QB Tom Brady will be looking to clinch the Pats' 10th straight AFC East title with a win in Miami, becoming the first franchise in NFL history to earn a playoff berth in 10 consecutive seasons. Now, the Dolphins not only want to stop that, but a loss would be devastating to their playoff chances. Take a listen.
We're just going to go out and, believe in ourselves, our coaches, and, try to get us a win. Like we say, we're looking at this like a playoff game, from here on out.
The politically correct answer, it's the next game, so it's always the biggest game. But, we do know it's the Patriots, and we know that we play them twice a year, and they're in the divisions. Division game counts for double. So this is, like I said, it's a really big game for us, and we're trying to stay on a roll. We can't afford to lose any more games.
Now, the Patriots lost 4 of their last 6 games at Hard Rock Stadium, so they should be interesting, You can watch the game starting at 1 o'clock this Sunday on CBS 12, then tune into Finn's Final with Sports Director John Edmondson at 11 p.m. for post-game reaction and analysis. Not a good, I think that's going to be a good game, huh?
Absolutely.
Yeah, and you know what? The weather, not too bad for it either. So, you know what? Win-win situation. Let's just hope the Finns win, all right?
Thanks for joining us tonight. We'll be back for CBS 12 News at 11.
That's true. Remember, the news is always on at CBS12.com. The evening news is next with Jeff Glor. We thank you for joining us this Friday night. We'll see you back here at 11. Good night.